Hello world, from whichever time zone you're catching me from, my name is MD90. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification to all so that you do not miss the uploads that come up. And the easiest way for you to navigate the channel is to head to the playlist. You'll find videos curated for you based on your interest. So if you're interested in the Kutika podcast, you'll find a playlist for that. For news and trends, there's a playlist for that. Exclusive with MD90, a bunch of playlists that are created based on your interest. So the easiest way to navigate the channel is head straight to the playlist and you'll find what you're here for. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Right next to the subscribe button is the join button. You click on the join button so that you can become a member of the channel. You support the team on the production and a number of things that we're doing here, and we appreciate that.
Well, these are the news headlines that have been rocking the nation since yesterday. So in the real times, they say grave confusion continues as ECL's family now makes fresh demands for road repair works to residents. So that's according to real times there. But they also include the plane in which the late president was supposed to move in. And then Kalemba simply reports to say the Zambia Army Facebook page has updated its cover page with a photo of President Hakainde Hichilema, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, inspecting a guard of honor when he was sworn in as 7th president after he was elected. Electoral triumph back in 2021. So I guess that's the news coming from Kalemba. The Facebook update from the Zambia Army. But this was the official government response coming from government, because as of yesterday, when the family made that press brief in the morning, there was silence from government. The government did not say anything, at least from the official accounts of government, nothing was said. And then eventually the secretary to the cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, put up a statement on behalf of the Republic of Zambia and on behalf of the president, and which was carried by the Minister of Information and Media. So they say the Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, will at an appropriate moment address the nation to provide guidance regarding the repatriation and the remains of the late 60th President of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, has since appealed to every Zambian to remain calm and united and prayerful. So that was a response from government. Yes, the Secretary to the Cabinet did express disappointment on the fact to say on several occasions, he pretty much highlighted the number of times that they had engaged, that's the family and the people that were sent by President Hakainde Hichilema to South Africa to go and negotiate the repatriation of Edgar Chagwa Lungu's body. So he said the change of tone or action by the family caught the government off guard, because if you remember, there was even that conversation where the South African government had offered its defense force to offer their honors, military honors of the late president as he was flying out. So there was a news headline that was even flying on the the South African televisions, where they were saying the South African government was very disappointed with the action that was spent on that. And then obviously people just having a conversation there. Smart Ego say facts about Mr. Patrick Kangwa, that's the Secretary to the Cabinet. People are just responding, honorable man. And then just a couple of minutes ago, a statement coming from Thabo Kawana, Permanent Secretary for Ministry of Information and Media, put up a statement to say there was no resignation that had come from the UPND government, and worse off coming from the Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa. Any news that was circulating with regard to that were false. So I did not understand where that news headline was coming from until I saw Mausampa's post. That's when I thought, oh, maybe that's where it's coming from. So Mausampa just put up to say, yes, he has handed in a letter of resignation, but who can blame him? Who can blame him though? Actually, that's what noble men do when in such a conundrum of not on foot. So that was what Thabo Kawana was responding to say any resignation being purported to have come from Patrick Kangwa are false, and anyone that is peddling those lies are to be held accountable. But then again, Mao Sampo simply argued to say he did not put any names on that post. So I do not know how that will play out. But pretty much wherever else that news is being circulated to say the secretary to the cabinet, Mr. Kangwa, the person that was negotiating with the on behalf of government with the Lungu family had resigned, those are false and should be disregarded. And obviously, the Kalemba carries the same. Patrick Kangwa has not resigned as secretary to the cabinet. He is currently in office and working. Ministry of Information Permanent Secretary Tabokawana has revealed. So that's pretty much the same news, an extract from that live stream that Tabokawana had at his office. On the other hand, if you remember, there was a conversation that I was circulating with regard to the Electoral Commission of Zambia, with regard to the by-election that are happening. So as things are scheduled, if the late body of the late president, Edgar Chakalungu, comes in the country, it's supposed to be buried on the 23rd, which is the Monday. And then on Thursday, the 26th, there are by-elections in Lumezi. So people are speculating to say, no, the by-election is going to be moved. What is going to happen with the by-election? To which the Electoral Commission of Zambia felt the need to respond and clarify things, to say they are not changing anything. They are bound by the Constitution to say they are supposed to hold elections within 90 days when the seat falls vacant. And going beyond the 26th will be beyond their scope of jurisdiction or what they are allowed to do. So the EC simply says there is nothing that is changing. Yes, they will follow the national mourning period and pretty much all the decorum that is required as people campaign towards those elections. But the by-elections in Lumezi are not changing. So if you're contesting or your candidate is contesting, you might as well get on the ground and do the work there, because the ECZ has said nothing is changing in that regard. On the other hand, Chilufya Tayari says, referring to the PF, you lost elections when you were in power with Tusaka Twandalama. And now you are holding on to the body, Kwachishimba, like it's a charm, Kwachishimba, to win an election. Just bring the body, we bury. So, and then he goes further to say, this is no matter how long you will hold on to that body, it will not take you into power. Edgar Lungu is gone, never to come back to fight for you. Just move on. So that's Chifetari jabbing at the Patriotic Front, saying, hey, you might as well bring the body. To which George Mutonga responded to say, this is what George responded to Chifetari, because he's been going back and forth with the Patriotic Front pretty much. He's shifted camp. He's really trying to get into the UPND good graces. So George Mutonga simply responded, I mean, with Edgar Lungu gone, this is the best way to return to Zambia. So he says, deploy that is coming from Chifetari, all those posts that he's been putting up. It's in an effort for him to fall in the good graces of the UPND so they can bring him back. He said that's the best option that he has to move from that self-imposed exile. This is why I always say the loudest praise singers will be the ones to sell you out first. Tayari worshipped the ground the Patriotic Front walked on, and that is the truth. And pretty much from the time that he started facing his challenges, the people that paid his bills are the Patriotic Front, and in particular Edgar Chagalungu. So now George Mutonga is just putting a point across to say, if he could turn on the people that actually paid his bills, what more if he gets into the UPND, how much more damage would he do if they fall out of grace? So he's simply forewarning to say the praise singers are the first to shift camp. And an example is Chief Teari, because he's trying to save his own life here, trying to get back into the country. Probably even the people that were sustaining his self-imposed exile, the people from the PF. So now that he's fighting them, I don't know how he's going to sustain himself. Let's wait and see how that plays out. Hence this double down, trying to play in the best graces of the UPND and trying to get them probably to squash his court cases so that he can come and help them out in the upcoming elections. But one would argue to say, if the UPND made it into government without Chifeteari's help, because Chifeteari was 100% behind the Patriotic Front, 100% behind Edgar Chagalungu. And now the UPND and the Hakainde Hichilema won those elections without his help. Of what use is he at this point going in the second round of the elections? You can tell he's simply trying to save his skin at this point. And most of the people in the UPND are able to see and read through his actions. But anyway, He's cornered. He has to do what he has to do to save his butt. On the other hand, John Sang had held a conversation with Emmanuel Mwamba, and you're saying not law but courtesy. So he's simply weighing in on the conversation prevailing in the nation. So 2 weeks after the death of Zambia's 60th President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the nation remains in mourning, but the occasion is being narrated by legal uncertainty and tension between the state and the late president's family. Prominent constitutional lawyer, State Counsel John Sango has spoken out, warning that Zambia's lack of legislation on the state funerals is at the heart of the current standoff. There is no law in Zambia. There is no law for state funerals. What we are seeing is not law. It is courtesy, and the courtesy can be rejected. Sangwa said during an interview on Emmanuel Mwamba Verified, he urged the government to follow examples from countries like Tanzania, which has a clear legal framework for presidential funerals. Sangwa emphasized that the family of the late president, particularly the former First Lady Esther Lungu, and their children remain primarily custodian of President Lungu's funeral wishes. In the absence of a law, common sense and decency must prevail. The family's wishes must come first. You cannot force your way into someone's funeral. That is not law. That is intrusion. That is John Sangwa. The lawyer also called on President Hakainde Hichilema and the government to exercise humility and restraint, given that the strained relationship between the current administration and the Lungu family. When you mistreat someone in life, you cannot expect full trust in death. Let's respect the family, and after this difficult moment, let us finally pass a proper state funeral law. With Zambia having lost 6 presidents since independence, Sangwa's call is a reminder that without a clear law, the nation risks continued division and unnecessary conflict at moments when unity is most needed. So that's the feedback coming from John Sangwa. What is Simon Mwewa with regard to Makebi Zulu? He says Makebi Zulu thinks South Africa is the Patriotic Front PF Secretariat. So he's weighing in on that, simply saying, hey, the way he's treating SA as if it's a PF Secretariat. And then these memes have been going around online. People have been making memes with regard to the funeral, saying, my father will not be buried. And then they put in the faces of the Zambian faces there. It's mostly Edgar Lungu family there. And then what else is going on in the news? Simon Mwewa still doubles down, says, the notorious Patriotic Front have refused to accept that Edgar Chagwa Lungu left KBF in charge, but they want us to believe that he left instructions on who should not attend the funeral. Why should we ignore the first instruction but honor the second one? So he brings up a debate to say somewhat he's arguing to say KBF is the one that was left in charge, according to him. So if disregarding the fact that Edgar Lungu had appointed KBF, why should we regard the news to say the President Hakainde Hichilema should not attend his funeral? What is say why Zambia's urgently needs law to state funerals? So more people are weighing to say at this point now there should be law. If a person contends as a president, immediately his remains fall into it becomes a state property, meaning whatever happens after death, that person is supposed to be buried by a state and everything else. Otherwise, the way things stand, the debate between the family and the individual will always, the family and the government will always be there. But for a person to go and contend, it's like when you are applying for a job, you know the terms of reference. So people are saying we should pass that law. And then Simon Mwewa also update marketeers that stoned and attacked me. 2 suspects were arrested, a male and a female. We have 4 witnesses, and the witnesses are also marketeers, but they are being threatened by their fellow marketeers that if you testify for Mwewa, we shall throw you out of this market. So as you remember, he was stoned at some point, should have been like a week ago or more. And then Spartigos simply puts up the Bemba proverb, which simply says, Ichiro Ishiru, Tawaka Kaweka, which simply means the funeral cannot be done by the people that are bereaved, pretty much like a family. They need a community around them. So pretty much ECZ also responding with regard to the Mezi elections. So those elections are taking place. Zambia Daily Nation says someday Edgar Chakalungu's remains will come home. That is quoting quoting Kabake Bizuru in South Africa, part of that statement that he put across. And also Barry Lungu in South Africa says Aka. So another point of view from people who are saying that they might as well bury the remains there. And then Diggers, grave mistake. Lungu family ghost government claims a breach of a funeral deal. So the grounds on which the family breached that agreement is a government that backtrailed. And yeah, so people are remembering Edgar Chagolungu and an image there of Laura Miti. She's been very critical of what's happening with the Lungu family recently. So there's a back and forth between the Patriotic Front and Laura Miti, the lady that you see standing to the elect president there. She's a critic of what is happening. She's like, no, they're holding the country as at ransom at this point. And then another meme that I found interesting was this, where people are saying the unity should prevail. You can see a UPND Chitenge, PF Chitenge, and other political parties, including the churches. I see Catholic Church, and then also Citizen First. So this is a reflection of what Zambia is. So beyond this funeral, Zambia remains united and will make it through. So that's the news, ladies and gentlemen.